Have you ever wondered, what if the characters you've been thinking is fictional or mystical were real? How would you react if you came to know that some of the widely known mythical creatures did exist in real life? Would you want to see them? Then make sure you stick to the end. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and today we will be talking about 10 mythical creatures that actually exist. But before that, you know what to do. Subscribe to our channel, and let's hit the list. Myths are so called for a reason mainly because they're untrue. Myths are stories told by ancient people who wanted to explain a phenomenon or scare someone into good behavior. And because we're so much more rational than our ancestors are, we, modern humans, know better than to believe in them. But how would you feel if you knew that some mythical creatures may be based in reality? Maybe, just maybe, the Kraken is still lurking somewhere out in the ocean. Maybe werewolves really did stalk medieval villagers. Maybe your goat herd is not safe from CHUPACABRA. Buckle up as we present to you the sensation of fear and excitement with 10 mythical creatures that exist in real life. Number 10. Sea serpents. The myth. Throughout history, these mythical creatures were depicted with a long body of a snake and the head of a dragon. This creature has baffled scientists for ages after it began terrifying the sailors. The reality. Thanks to all the advancements in science and in-depth exploration of the deep blue sea, we came to know that there did exist a giant oarfish similar to it. The enigmatic oarfish matches the monsters from the deep that is capable of sinking ships. This creature can be 50 feet long and is known to stay deep in the water during the day and heads toward the surface only at night to catch their prey. Thus, it's really difficult to find their actual proportions and size, especially at night. Recently, no oarfish was sighted in their own habitat, but the witnesses explained their experience as it's like making contact with aliens. People were ecstatic when they witnessed the mythical creature in reality. It is still hoped that further improved ocean research can reveal more about this once mythical creature. Number 9. Loch Ness Monster. The myth. The tales of this mythical creature dates back to 565 AD in a biography of St. Columba. It became the Scottish folklore which abounded mythical water creatures. But in 1934, an English physician, Robert Kenneth, photographed the creature of popular folklore in Scotland. The iconic image, known as surgeon's photograph, pictured a monster's small head and neck, which was then printed on Daily Mail and soon became an international sensation. In myths, Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, was a large marine creature believed by some to inhabit Loch Ness, Scotland. The reality. Many of the scientists and paleontologists refer to Nessie as a descendant of a plesiosaur, which went extinct 65 million years ago. However, much of the information and evidence was discredited. But still, its popularity seemed constant. Even in the 21st century, its sight and hunting contributed nearly $80 million annually to Scotland's economy. The loch seems to be covered in subterranean caves where this descendant can easily hide out. So make sure that on your next trip, you try to capture the real one, if you dare to. Number 8. Dragons. The myth. Dragons are among the most widespread and enduring of the world's mythological creatures. Dragon tales have been widely known in many cultures, from the Americas to Europe, from India to China. It's not clear yet as to when or how these stories of dragons first emerged, but the huge flying serpents were described at least as early as the civilizations of the ancient Greeks and Sumerians. Primitive Europe and Asia believed that dragons were everywhere, hiding in the cave down the road, burning down the churches, and eating their children. The reality. The certainty in dragons was based not just on tales, but also in hard evidence. For millennia, no one knew what to make of giant bones that were occasionally unearthed around the globe, and dragons seemed a logical choice for people who had no knowledge of dinosaurs. So the reality still remains that the dinosaurs, or even some reptile that can have an uncanny resemblance with the fiery beasts, are real-life dragons, eliminating just two factors: not being giant and not breathing fire. Here are some examples of dragons: Komodo dragons, flying dragons, bearded dragons, and frilled dragon. Number 7. MOBY, the Korean dragons. Talking about dragons, we should definitely mention the Korean dragons. So, coming in at number 7, we have the IMOOGI dragons. The myth. IMOOGI are Korean dragons. They are often depicted as long snake-like reptiles with 4 legs. Unlike other dragons, IMOOGI do not have wings and are considered benevolent creatures related to water and agriculture. The reality. While there is no such creature in the fossil record, the proof of the IMOOGI existence was found in South America. Scientists say such giant snakes really existed. Titanoboa was the largest snake to ever slither across the ground, and various specimens have been found indicating that they could grow up to 42 feet in length and weigh as much as 2,500 pounds. It was so huge that it could easily be confused with a dragon. Titanoboa became extinct many years ago, but we want to believe that they turned into dragons and flew into the sky. Number 6. El Chupacabra. The myth. This myth dates back to the 1990s, where it was first known to be seen in Puerto Rico. Descriptions were believed to be from 3 foot to 5 feet tall, had a row of spikes down its back, and alien-like eyes. Ever since 1995, the chupacabra, or the goatsucker, became infamous and caused huge chaos amongst farmers to protect their livestock. Mainly affecting the states in the Southwest as well as South America, the chupacabra was known to suck its prey's blood, leaving 2 punctured holes on its prey. Many Puerto Ricans believe that chupacabras are a result of American exploitation and meddling, mainly stating that they are a result of top-secret U.S. scientific experiments taking place in the El Yunque rainforest. Well, which I believe can be true, but let's move on to see what reality has for us. The reality. Scientific research about this found that the wide speculated goatsucker was none other than a coyote with mange, and the image widely speculated was none other than an itched and hairless coyote. Number 5. Unicorn. The myth. The myth of the unicorn has evolved over time from various depictions of real animals, and the most likely source in European history stems from Pliny the Elder's description of a rhinoceros. Over time, this description morphed through tall tales into the unicorn, but another source in Europe also helped push the belief in the majestic beast. Norse Vikings would take narwhal tusks to Europe and sell them to people as unicorn horns. Because they had never seen a narwhal or a unicorn, the explanation worked, and people traded in so-called unicorn horns for centuries. Perhaps the earliest known unicorns are by well-known Greek historian Statius, who portrayed a large animal with a horn on its forehead in India. The reality. The reality differs since most people assume that a rhinoceros sits perfectly at the description of a unicorn. However, recently fossils of an animal some 29,000 years old were discovered in Siberia, with a striking similarity to a unicorn-like animal. Number 4. The Roc. The myth. The roc was an enormous bird of prey found in mythology originating in the Middle East. The giant bird was popularized in various fairy tales and folklore from the region, and there's a roc in 1001 Nights, as well as many other popular stories. Descriptions of the roc vary somewhat, but in most, it's an eagle large enough to pick up an elephant, like the one pictured here. Marco Polo recounted his identification of a roc in the 13th century as an eagle, but one indeed of enormous size, so big in fact that its quills were 12 paces long and thick in proportion, and its strength can seize an elephant in its talons and keep him high into the air. Well, that's a good one, but what about the reality? The reality. The roc, as it has been described, didn't likely exist, but there are analogs in the fossil record, which could have easily given birth to the myth. One such creature was the elephant bird of Madagascar, though the myth could have easily been born by sailors' accounts of large eagles capable of carrying off newborn lambs. Number 3. Hobbits. The myth. Hobbits are a mythological human-like race in the novels of J.R.R. Tolkien, about half the height of humans. They live barefooted and in underground houses which have windows and are typically built into the sides of hills. Hobbits were first introduced in The Hobbit, a children's novel that dates back to 1973. Ever since then, numerous tales of their house being witnessed have countered, but none of them had actual evidence. The reality. The excavations of a limestone cave on the Indonesia island of Flores discovered a 3-foot tall skeleton with a skull 1/3 the size of a normal human, a hobbit. researchers discovered the bones of 9 such people, the earliest of which dates back to about 12,000 years. There are doubts and beliefs that the hobbits were just like humans that suffered from a growth-restraining condition such as microcephaly, but the common view among scientists is that the hobbits are a separate species. Number 2. Moby Dick. The myth. Moby Dick, the giant whale, was infamous for its size. The popularity about it was wide and common since nobody knew that much about the deep blue sea, similar to the Kraken. The reality. The well-known novel Moby Dick was based on a true story about a giant white whale. It used to attack whaling vessels and crush them to pieces. By 1819, the crew of a whaling vessel hunted whales for 1.5 years before the giant white whale put an end to it. In 1839, a magazine article mentioned that a giant whale was defeated off the coast of Chile near the Mocha Island. Since then, the whale was called Mocha Dick. In 1974, Canadian sailors noticed an albino whale in the Atlantic. They followed the beast for many hours before catching it. It turned out to be a young female whale. It meant that exactly the same giant whale could exist. Moreover, a team from Peru found a well-preserved whale skull. It was almost 55 feet long. This type of species was called Leviathan melvillei. What do you think these people experienced when they came face to face with these beasts? How would you react? Share your thoughts in the comments. Before we reveal number 1, make sure you drop a thumbs up on the video and let us know in the comments your thoughts on the creatures so far. Number 1. Kraken.
Release the Kraken!
Coming in at number 1 is the Kraken from the enigmatic ocean that still has a lot to be discovered. The myth. The Kraken is a massive and mighty creature from deep beneath the sea that pulls ships down to the depths with its mighty tentacles. Tales of the Kraken can be found throughout European literature, and it's often described as a massive creature that resembled a floating island or was so large its tentacles could pull entire vessels under the sea. The reality. Sailors have been describing strange creatures for millennia, and while most of the beasts described by them over the years proved to be wildly inaccurate, not everything was. The Kraken may have been described as a violent creature that sank ships, but in reality, it's likely a colossal squid. They can reach lengths up to 33 feet and weigh in at 1,500 pounds. They have strong tentacles, which are filled with suction cups, like other squid and octopus, but these nasty buggers featured large hooked claws, giving it a grabbing advantage over others of its kind. These animals have been known for thousands of years, but they were only first described in 1925. The first live specimen wasn't captured until 2007, but tales of the beast's mighty tentacles likely gave birth to the myth of the Kraken, as they washed up on beaches around the world throughout history. That was all for our creatures from storybooks to science journal. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about it? Also, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell below as well. Watch more amazing videos on our channel and drop a comment if you have any suggestions about the next one. Thank you.